Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Aaron Boulding, who will be our next moderator. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Athletes and Weekend Warriors as part of Sports Fitness Tech at CES. We've got a great panel for you talking about sports and lifestyle equipment. Should be a lot of fun. By way of an introduction, my name is Aaron Boulding. I'm the president and founder of Xperience Entertainment, where we've just launched our marquee web property, spinmover.com, where we'll have all of the sports video game information, news, culture, downloads that you can possibly handle. If you want to load it up on your smartphone browser right now, I won't be offended. We've built in time for that. But today we're discussing the present and future of sports and lifestyle equipment. We've got a great panel assembled here, so we're just going to jump right into it with some introductions. Starting right here, John Hammond from iBike. Take a few seconds to introduce yourself.
iBike is a company that focuses on cycling. We started 7 years ago with a radical new technology for measuring power, which is one of the most basic things that happens in any sporting activity. We have a very successful product line, and then Apple made our life nice a couple of years ago when they allowed the iPhone to become a mobile computer as well as a cell phone. So we've got a line of products with that, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right. And then next to him we have Fiedler Quarterback from the Miami Dolphins. You may remember him, and I have to say this, he defeated Peyton Manning in the playoffs about 11 years ago around this time. So I had to put that out there just now. You can finish off the rest.
All right. Yes. Hi, Jay Fiedler. I played for 10 years in the NFL. I did defeat Peyton in the playoffs. That was one of the highlights of my career, as well as that picture on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Currently, I have a consulting company working with a lot of different technologies and companies looking to develop strategies in the fitness and sports arena.
Okay. Next to him we have Opher Pail. He's been a part of this conference before, so he's a veteran. He's coming back. Opher, give us a couple words.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. We make under the U-Water brand waterproof electronics. We make the U-Water G4, the world's smallest waterproof MP3 player. We make the U-Water K7, the world's smallest waterproof Pail radio. We are here showcasing at CES today additional lines that include full day, 8-hour HD cameras, as well as extreme dive lights.
Okay. And at the far end, that's Cornacchio from Polar. Corey, take a few minutes.
Thanks, Aaron. Good morning. My name is Cornacchio. I've been with Polar for about 15 years now. And any of you familiar with Polar, we've been around for about 30 years now. World leader in heart rate. We actually invented the first heart rate monitor back in the 70s. And we've constantly developing technologies, not only for the athlete, but for the everyday fitness enthusiast too. And I just want to take you through a little bit, the 20-second history of the heart rate monitor, because that's really the star. I'm just part of the company. In 1977, our owner and inventor, Seppo Sainiakangas, and I'll give anybody $10 if they can say that 5 times fast, invented the first heart rate monitor for the National Finnish cross-country ski team. In the 80s, the product kind of came to the U.S. through the U.S. cycling team, and a gentleman named Ed Burke. Triathletes and cyclists really started using that technology. And then in the 90s, it became a little more popular among the fitness enthusiasts. A lot of the NFL, the NHL, and major sports started using the product. And we started to branch more into general fitness population. And that's really the 2000s, a lot of supporting technologies to just take technologies athletes use and bring them to the general populace. And that's really what we're focused on today, is really bringing that technology to everybody.
Okay, good.
Thanks,
so
Ed.
we're going to examine sort of what the state of the art was during the prime of Jay Fiedler's career. sort of, he's our quarterback, our world-class athlete, and we're going to examine what the state of the art was then, what it is now, and where we're headed in the future. So understand that a lot of people had a deep interest in Jay being very healthy and in peak physical condition. And so, Jay, what were some of the training techniques and maybe some of the equipment that you used in your prime?
Yeah, you know, it's when I came into the league in 1994, you know, most of the NFL teams were basically based, you know, their fitness programs had one guy, a strength and conditioning coach, who oversaw everything. And over the course of the 10 to 12 years that I played around the league, I saw a lot of advances as we went along. You know, starting in the late 90s, I remember, you know, starting to use the polar equipment, heart rate monitors. And, you know, football is all about recovery rate. You know, it's all about quick bursts of energy followed by recovery rate. And, you know, the faster that you can recover to get ready for the next play, the more explosive you could be to do that. So we started using some heart rate monitors in our training, in the techniques, running a lot of interval sprints. And rather than our rest time being dictated by time, you know, whether it be a 45-second rest or a 30-second rest, we started dictating that by heart rate. And, you know, we try to decrease the amount of time that we could get our heart rate to drop from peak level of, you know, the upper hundreds, you know, 180, 190, when we're really exerting ourselves in sprints, down to, you know, the 120, 130 level, which is kind of that recovery zone to be ready to exert yourself for the next play. And then, you know, farther along into the 2000s, athletes really became, you know, a lot like celebrities, actors, and musicians, where they have a team of individual complements with them, and they didn't rely strictly on the team to advance their fitness level. You know, more athletes were seeking individualized training. Nutritionists, they were seeking massage therapy, stretching coaches. You know, any advancement that an athlete can get to improve himself individually and a fitness level, athletes were seeking that in the 2000s, and it's, you know, really become, you know, the point now where each individual athlete throughout an off season, you know, now has 3, 4, 5 people that work with them to get them prepared for the beginning of the season. And then now the teams are kind of catching on to that as well, and are employing a lot more people on their staff and their strength and conditioning coordination. So it's not just one strength coach that's out there. It's now, as a strength coach, there's a massage therapist, there's a nutritionist, a stretching coach. You know, some teams are implementing yoga type exercises, and really the training has gone a lot more from the weight room of strictly lifting heavy weights to a lot more functional exercises, and that's, you know, where the training techniques are at nowadays.
We're all familiar with how football is played. Corey, John, Opher, maybe help us understand, why is monitoring your heart rate important in a sport like that?
Well, I can relate it a little to, I'll just use basketball as an example. We've worked with a lot of high-level collegiate basketball teams. One of note, and I can't mention the name, but basically what they did was they're trying to prepare their athletes for game-time situations. So what they did was they analyzed the game, and they found out that the actual playing time of the game between timeouts or out-of-bounds plays was 48 seconds, and the off time was 18 seconds. I mean, that's how sophisticated they broke a game down to. So they took their athletes, and they put them in aerobic cardio training, 48-second intervals, 48 seconds on, and they started to shorten up their interval time. The year they won, they had 1 All-American. They were facing a team that had 3 All-Americans, and they basically said that they were able to out-fitness them because they simulated what's typically in a game. And that happens in football now with coaches. They actually, you know, you can't train a lineman and a wide receiver the same way. Well, the old days, they used to just roll out balls and roll out, you know, everybody go run. Even the high school coaches today, they've got everybody running around. You know, whoever comes in last does another lap. Well, you can't expect the wide receiver and the lineman to be the same condition or the same training. So heart rate personalizes it by each position and gets them prepared for the demands of their position on the field, too.
John, in cycling, I would imagine monitoring your heart rate has got to be super important.
It has been important. I'm fascinated by the chart that's up there because, in fact, I think it was 15 or 20 years ago that a new measurement technology called Power first came on the scene. And very much like what happened with heart rate, Power was intended to provide a way for a cyclist to measure physical performance, because when you ride a bicycle, your legs are basically producing power just like a light bulb, and it's measured in watts. Power brought along with it certain advantages in terms of being a more instantaneous and perhaps more sensitive measurement, but it is something that has been used and is increasingly used by cyclists in conjunction with heart rate to really maximize cycling performance. And in fact, as we're talking about with the basketball team, you use interval training to improve cycling performance. And in fact, I think as we move into the 21st century here, we're going to see it used more for mainstream things other than just winning a football game championship, but to do more commonplace things such as general physical fitness or even losing weight.
Gotcha. Opher, I would imagine that the world's smallest MP3 player, that's been a long time coming. That wasn't around, say, 10, 11 years ago.
It wasn't. And I want to say that 15 years ago when we started out, we developed a small radio called Swimmer Choice Radio. It was a very primitive analog radio, and we were stunned by our response out there, specifically from senior citizens and from boomers. Swimming, audio in the water is not just luxury, it's like oxygen. You don't have it, you can't swim. You can't swim a long time. We were more focused at that time on servicing the product that we sold because technology, was not there. Over the past 15 years, the audio in the water technology has really developed to such an extent that this is mainstream. We sell small products, and they are durable, and they fit almost everyone, and the sound is great. And I can talk, Aaron, about a specific technology if we have time, but I see the world has significantly changed.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that. So I'm going to ask you, each of you, give me a one-word answer here. What is it that today's weekend warriors, people who are training on their own time, what is it they need most to stay in shape? What's the one thing? Go ahead.
I think they need understanding. That is, they need to have a measurement that they understand. They need to know what to do with that measurement, and then they need to make the best of it.
Jay?
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines, it's just access to the right information. And training techniques are being passed down from professional level, with the elite athletes, at the top of their game, whether it's Olympic or professional athletes, and now you're seeing the access to that type of techniques and training techniques being passed down to everyday people.
Opher, give me one word. These guys weren't listening.
We don't sell to athletes or to Superman or to Spider-Man. We sell to ordinary guys, ordinary people who look for affordability and performance.
All right, I'll get close to one word. Guidance and feedback. That's the biggest thing someone starting out. All right, am I doing it right? And then, how do I do it right to guide them through the exercise too?
Okay. The word I was looking for was motivation. That was the answer. Sorry, you guys.
Motivation.
Okay, so I'll take your answers though. But what types of technology, what types of gear do we have out there now that can help with each of these things that you just mentioned? Go ahead, John.
Well, we're actually very excited to be announcing a product here at CES, which for the first time combines measurement technology with coaching, exercise science technology, and takes advantage of really the iPhone as a computer. It is a product that for the first time lets a consumer define the benefit that they're looking for, whether it be better physical appearance or weight loss or just getting off the couch for the first time, and then gives them a prescribed way to get to that end benefit by following a plan. The measurement technology is Power, which is something that all the top cyclists in the world are using. The exercise science comes from Hunter Allen, who is one of the preeminent coaches in the world. and the computer science comes from Apple. So we're very excited to finally, and I agree with you, Chris, it's motivation and feedback and guidance. It is now possible to do those things and to do it at a mainstream price and with a way that makes sense to people.
Jay, you're still active. You still pay attention to the industry. You still pay attention to the sport. What do you see out there now that's caught your attention?
Yeah, I think when you talk about the motivation and the feedback that you get, as an athlete, it's easy to get motivated when you got teammates around you that can push you. You got a coach that's working with you. But when you're training on your own, it's a lot harder to reach that motivational level. You saw it originally, I think, with the Nike iPod feedback, where it would talk back to you and give you recommendations on motivating you to up your load, to work out a little bit harder, to work out longer. Now you're getting so much feedback, and there's videos that are out there online. There are a lot of the access to information and to training techniques, and basically motivation that you could see a coach that's out there and integrate that with your workouts. On your mobile phone, you could get a workout, in a video, have a coach kind of talk you through what you're trying to do and help you motivate to get your end goal.
Guys, I'm curious, do you think that's why we see these teams of trainers and nutritionists and massage therapists? Is it that social experience? Is that why individual athletes, celebrities have these groups around them?
Well, go ahead.
I think by nature people want to not be wasting time, so they want to be making sure they're doing things the right way. And not everybody knows, especially a lot of celebrities are focused on their career, and they really want someone to tell them, drink this water, do this, follow this program. So they surround themselves with people that can actually do that. And really, it's the same for the general exerciser. Everybody's looking for that. I mean, I think if we could all take a pill to stay in shape, everybody would probably do that. But you can't. You have to find the right workout that works for you. So finding the right feedback, the right program,
and then having something to guide you through that program. And that's kind of what Heart Rate and what a lot of our products are. They interact with different apps. So having that ability to kind of choose what's right for you and then guide you through that workout and make sure that you're doing it right. Things like, am I burning enough calories? That's all motivational stuff that keeps you going. If you guys watch The Biggest Loser, a lot of times that first week or two, they don't lose a lot of weight because they got to get in better shape. But if they see their heart rate or they see they're burning enough calories, they get that feedback to keep them motivated. And the general populace is the same way.
Yeah. Opher, what products, real quick, what products do you see out there today that are the key to people having successful workouts?
Motivation is really important. Motivation is really a key for us. Motivation for us is provide people who swim or outdoors or bike audio that they can rely on, that is small enough that they can carry with them, that will be durable and also affordable. You can't see anyone now jogging or walking without iPod or without, remember Walkman a long time ago. And similarly, I see a situation where every swimmer out there, or you surf, you bike, you have audio devices that keep you motivated. You're absolutely right. It's the key word.
Gotcha. You got a point to make?
Yeah, just getting back to the point before, I think, whether you're an athlete and you're training professionally and it's your career on the line, or whether you're just a weekend warrior, you're always looking for that edge, and you're always looking for the next technique. And when you talk about a team of people around you, for a professional athlete, you could spend $10,000 a month or whatever it is, for all the people. For a weekend warrior, you're not going to spend that much, but you still want to get as much of an edge as you can, whether you're training, for a competition, for a basketball league that you play in, or whether you're just trying to get in peak fitness that you can be.
So it seems that pro athletes they don't need or want to know what to do to be in the best shape. They've got a team of people around them to tell them, like you just said, drink this, do this, come see me next week. Whereas all of us, we have to educate ourselves and learn all that stuff ourselves. And there's tools out there to do that. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think everybody would love to surround themselves with that kind of entourage of people to help them. But, there's a lot of information out there. And, we're bombarded with workout information and what's right, and things change, and and I think someone, an individual who's starting exercise program, there's a lot to go through. There's a lot of information out there. What do I do? I have this treadmill. I get on it. What do I do? What level? What speed? So anything that can help simplify exercise. Most of the people don't get off the couch because they start looking at what's involved with doing it, not just dieting, but I got to go join a gym. I got to go get on a piece of equipment. I got to figure out what to do. There would probably be a lot more people that would start this if we can make it easier. And that's kind of what we're all looking to do, is make exercise easier for the general populace and the person just start exercising. Because moving is the start of it. So anything we can do to simplify that, it's going to be helpful.
What's out there to help people figure out what it is they want to do? Because we can all sit there and be on the couch with the remote chips, the whole thing, and say, I want to get in shape. I don't want to be sloppy anymore. But there's a lot of questions that follow up on that. What's out there to help people figure out what their first step should be? Any ideas?
What's coming, and it's going to be real interesting 3 or 4 years as all of this unfolds, is what's out there is a smartphone in whatever form it is. And the ability of a smartphone to function as a very sophisticated computer and to use that computational ability basically to make the exercise and coaching experience simple. So smartphones are increasingly able to accept sensor data either through Bluetooth or ANT+, which is another system. They are able to do lots of processing because of their chips and also large memory. And therefore, it's possible to begin to build in some of that intelligence that a good coach can provide. But I think it's young right now. It's very young, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
So I already asked my smartphone where to get pizza and where the local bar is. Now I'm going to ask, how do I get rock hard abs? And it's going to tell me.
Absolutely. Or Brazilian butt.
All right. Corey?
Well, the app world's exploding. I mean, we all, raise your hand if you have an iPad or an iPhone or something, or something. And I mean, there's almost an app for everything. And I think in 5 years, there probably will be an app for everything. So the other part of it is, John mentioned the smartphone. Having all of that, a lot of athletes or recreational athletes, they aspire to that lifestyle, and it's cool. I mean, they're looked up to by the people that aren't exercisers or aren't runners. So if they can keep all that on their phone and open up a conversation, hey, here's my run today, or here's what I do. I do this and I do this, and it's all right on my smartphone. That'll help to kind of postulate more and more activity among the general populace. So anything that can capture all of that information and kind of keep it and make them be able to manage it very easily, and that's our iPhones and our Android phones and everything else too. So that's going to probably just keep increasing in the next 5 years.
Gotcha. Opher, I would imagine you're pushing a lot of waterproof entertainment products, which I think is fascinating. Is there a program that comes with some of these things, sort of like once you hook them with the entertainment angle, you then push them towards more tougher training techniques, more proper training techniques?
I would say that if you do 50 laps every day, you're going to have a hard time doing it alone. In general, we can't do things alone. It's very difficult to do things alone. If we have friends who we're working with, a team around us, help, coaches, it's relatively easy, but most of us are really doing it alone, and you need gear. I call it gear. You need gear with you just to help you out. I cannot see, we heard people who can swim 50 laps, 60 laps and more with our products, and that without them, they can't even swim 2 laps because it's just boring. Products are, and all products I think that we have here, are more and more reliable. They provide more, and they cost less. So I see this as a key.
Okay. Jay, I know you work with, you have a lot of camps that you run for younger athletes. How are the younger people sort of approaching fitness now? There's a younger generation, are they seeing fitness the same way us older folks do? Because you hear all the stats about obesity in the United States and things like that. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of stats, out there, with obesity and the levels of fitness of the younger people. So they definitely need to be motivated to get off the couch and to move around, get away from their gaming console. Although a lot of the gaming consoles now are instituting a fitness aspect to it as well with the the Kinect system and the motion technology and the Wii and where you could actually interact physically with that. But still, the younger generation still needs to get out and be athletic and be active in the outdoors, and giving them the ability to get coaching and with the smartphone and with technologies that are coming out and the access to content that's out there online. There are so many online content providers now that are just putting up a lot of training techniques from athletes, from coaches, from the big performance centers now, like the IMG down in Florida or Athletes Performance out in Arizona. They're all putting content out that makes it a lot easier for younger generation to access that information.
What are some of the techniques out there, equipment, gear, that you see out there now that you say to yourself, man, if I'd had that when I was playing, I would have won Super Bowls, handful of rings. What do you see out there?
It's funny. It's actually a lot of the training techniques is getting away from, utilizing, extra technology and getting more into, functional training. You see it with the MMA people out there. A lot of football training now is getting towards that degree too. You're not just in the weight room pumping weights and getting bigger and stronger. You're really actually utilizing the strength in a situation, that you're able to get in positions, in football positions, and translate that strength from a football position, from an athletic position. So the techniques are being developed, and there are so many different fitness tools, not necessarily on the tech side, but just implements that are out there. But then on the tech side, really from the recovery rates that a lot of the advancements are coming in. That's probably the biggest thing, is figuring out how to recover the correct way to get to a level where you could exert yourself at the highest level possible and then come back down and recover a little bit to go back out in the interval training techniques.
John, you mentioned earlier the potential for apps and the fact that we're all carrying little computers around in our pockets. Do you see any conflict between that direction and maybe some of these old school techniques that we're talking about now? Like you see people out, wrestling bushes and trees for MMA training just to get, different types of strength going. Do you see any conflict there between old school techniques and some of this technology we see going forward?
No, I think in fact they're complementary, because we're talking about motivation, and something I'd like to touch on is that we have new ways now of presenting information. I mean, for years and years, all of these devices have been little screens with little numbers that you squint at and kind of try to remember what they mean. Now all of a sudden we have something we can hold in our hand, we can have graphical display of information, we can have animation, we can turn exercise almost into a game. And I also think that there are going to be, there's a lot of work going on both in new kinds of sensor technologies and also in measuring, making measurements across activities. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to, instead of using this MMA type of activity where it's natural, to say, okay, let's capture that, let's integrate it, let's keep track of it and get credit for it, and do so in a way where it's as enjoyable for kids as it is for adults.
Down at the end, Corey, Opher, do you see any conflict between some of the more retro techniques that are becoming more popular and this technology moving forward?
Well, even as advanced as some of the cross-training and everything else is getting, there still needs to be some grounding principles. I mean, Jay talked about recovery. That's probably the biggest thing. So, using technology like heart rate or anything that can actually show you that you're recovering. So it lets you actually try some of these new technologies to make sure, number one, you're recovering, but probably the biggest thing is, number two, you're not overtraining. Overtraining is probably, right? That's probably more detrimental to the athlete than undertraining at this point, because a lot of coaches are of the more's got to be better type of thinking. Technology will bring them back a lot. We work with a lot of coaches that once you show them what they're actually doing to the athlete during practice or during a game situation, they back up and they go, wow, I mean, I'm putting these guys through paces, and later on they're going to be overtrained and not recovered. So it lets them try different things and different types of training techniques, but also seeing what kind of effect it has on their body and their preparation for the game too.
Corey, if you would, could you relate that story you were telling us earlier about the coach who actually saw what his coaching techniques was doing to his player in real time and what that did for him?
We worked with and again, for NCAA reasons, I won't name the college, but we worked with a very high-level women's basketball team, and the coach was kind of new to heart rate, and he was running the team through their paces. And they had one player, she was a second-team All-American, she was a guard, and she was coming back from injury, and you could tell she was maybe a step behind everybody else. Well, we gave him this handheld device, and every one of the players was actually strapped up with a heart rate monitor where he could actually see all their heart rates in real time while they were running up and down the court. Well, we're watching it on the side. I'm with the strength and conditioning coach, and she's actually making really bad decisions. She's throwing the ball away, she's making bad shots, and he's yelling and screaming at her, and you could see her heart rate going through the roof. So after about 5 minutes of this, the strength and conditioning coach, they had a timeout, walked out to the coach and said, start looking at her heart rate. Understand she's a little deconditioned, and because she's deconditioned coming back from injury, you're pushing her, she's making real bad decisions. He brought her off the court, had her sit for about 5 minutes to kind of get back, and then he put her through. He would take her in, let her recover, take her out. She started making crisper passes. She started making good decisions. You know, and the light goes on. But, you know, Jay will probably tell you, a lot of coaches, especially strength and conditioning, harder's better, more's better, beat them up. You know, so it's a whole change in mindset that technology can really help the coach kind of evolve and get through.
Yeah, that's amazing. As someone with a background in video games, I can tell you a coach seeing what his player's doing, sort of looking inside their body, that type of feedback has got to be invaluable. And I'm sure, Jay, that you had experiences like that with the coach beating you up when they probably shouldn't have been.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you always get, you know, being pushed to your limits and to exert at your limits, you know, really for the end goal of, you know, increasing your fitness level and getting to the point where, you know, you could perform at the highest level under exertion. You know, I think there's another point that was touched too, and you know, a lot of the technologies that are represented up here are really representative in rehabilitation fitness as well. You know, I know, you know, when I had 8 surgeries throughout my career, and you know, rehabbed in a lot of different ways. You know, whether it be a lower body or an upper body extremity injury. You know, so I spent a lot of time on the bike. I spent a lot of time in the water. I spent a lot of time, you know, just monitoring my fitness, you know, from a heart rate level. So I think, you know, everything that we have here is very relative to, you know, rehabilitation fitness as well.
Yeah, that's an important point. We reached the part of the program where we're going to open it up to questions from you, the audience. Just raise your hand, speak loudly. I'll repeat anything that needs to be repeated. And we have a microphone if you don't want to do my way. Any questions? I got a question. Opher, do you think there's potential, we touched on it earlier with the development of consoles with this motion sensing technology. Do you think there's more potential, more untapped potential there with motion sensing technology in terms of some of the gear that your company pushes?
Our experience has been, you know, over the past years that electronics, sensing, even battery packs are getting smaller and smaller, and that you know, we look at where we were 10 years ago, as far as size-wise, it's just amazing difference. So I don't see in our usage any new sensing technology, but I see size-wise, I see them smaller and smaller and performing better.
Okay, smaller and smaller and waterproof. There we go. Only took a couple minutes.
I'm interested in how you guys are trying to get your products to be more mass market. So when I look at your Polar catalog, you guys got about, you know, maybe 20 different heart rate monitors in every different price band. It's obviously not an issue of diversity of the portfolio. It's and you're still probably only selling a couple million units a year. It's just not mass market. What needs to happen in the future to make it mass market so more people adopt and start using the technology for the right reasons?
I think a lot of it is just general awareness, and you know, we've worked really hard the last 10 years to get people to understand. You know, early on, this technology I showed you was for the U.S. cycling team, it was for high-level triathletes, and a lot of people still think that heart rate is just for that type of person. So, you know, we work really hard to start to educate people on this is really for the person trying to lose 15 pounds, for the person who's just trying to become more fit. So, you know, we're very, very poised at kind of getting, we have products for everybody. We have products for these people. It's educating them that this technology, don't be scared of the technology, utilize the technology. And I think as we integrate with smartphones, which we have Bluetooth transmitter that does that, as we do that, it makes it more approachable for people. So for us, it's really making the technology very approachable, and that's how I think we'll go. The person sitting here, we've got a lot, like you said, we've got millions of monitors out there, and now they start talking, they've had success stories, they talk to their wife or their husband or their child. On top of that, we have thousands of school systems a day that use our heart rate monitors in physical education. So we're doing a lot to educate the next generation of people that are coming in to become active. They'll be the consumers in the next 10 or 15 years. And we're at the point now where we're starting to see those people, because we've been doing this for some time now, we're starting to see them making these decisions about their health and fitness. So I think that type of thing is going to help expand it as well.
John Opher, I would imagine the same question would apply to each of you.
I would put a slightly different spin on the answer. And this is observing the entire sporting category over the last 10 years ago or so. For a product to be a mass market product, it has to deliver a benefit. And I think so much of what has happened in sports and sports measurement has been about numbers. And mainstream consumers don't have the access to the expert coaches and the software and all that stuff. They know that they may have been told by their doctor they need to lose some weight, or they may want to get ready to do a long vacation. What we need to do is to begin to express our products in terms of the end benefits that customers are looking for, and get away from, I got a better number, or mine's $10 less expensive. So I don't see a lot of that yet in sports measurement, but I think it's coming, and it's coming because we have finally the ability to take this knowledge, and there's a hell of a lot of knowledge. I mean, people really do know how to help mainstream people get to benefits, but we now finally have the platforms, the computational platforms, the measurement platforms, the exercise science platforms. We can do that. We now have to begin to market it and think about it that way.
Yeah, well, I think also, right now the hardware is out there to track, anything that you could put your body through. I think the next phase of training and getting, more mass market is, now the back-end software that could translate that data. And there are a lot of companies that are out there that are creating that are taking a Polar watch, that are taking an iBike, a fitness tracking solution, and translating that data into a online software that could really take you from point A to point B, and utilize all the data that's out there with the hardware on a back-end solution.
Yeah, I think it's common. Your doctor says, go get more exercise. Guy toddles off and becomes like a power lifter because he doesn't know any better. Opher, how do you position your products and company better to be that gateway to a successful program?
I want to talk about affordability, which is very important if you want to reach the mass market. And affordability has to do with, with the value. If you make this item in 100 pieces, it costs a lot of money. If you run 10,000, it costs less. Second, we are developing retail merchandising now, because we feel it's very important at the point of purchase that people see the product and really understand what it is. The awareness that players work underwater, and technology is just there.
Cool. Any more questions in the back? Two in the back.
Yeah, what kind of effort is there, or is there any effort to integrate what your value is bringing to the table for an individual user into like a big box gym setting? Is there any dialogue that's integrating your individual services where they're very much tailored to the individual into a much bigger infrastructure of a workout setting from like a Gold's or a 24-Hour Fitness or something like that?
We actually have a system. I told you before about the coach on the court watching his athletes. We have a system now that basically you can go into a training class, into like a spinning class, and the instructor can watch everybody's heart rate at one time. So really, you're having an individual experience, but you're getting, the instructor can actually guide you in that group setting. So we have technology now that will actually do that and actually enable the instructor to see what's going on with all of the people that they're actually instructing during that class.
Okay. Unfortunately, that has to be the last question, the last answer. My friend in the sunglasses, if you want to chase one of these folks down as we file out, feel free. We brought up some interesting questions. Hopefully, we've given you some answers. And thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your show.